The battle at Kursk is well known to historians as the largest tank battle ever staged, and perhaps the biggest battle of all time. Kursk is north of Ukraine and is appearing in the news at the moment as the Ukrainians are attacking the southern flank. In 1943 there was a bulge of Russian-occupied territory into German-controlled territory. As you can see from the map, the Germans wanted to cut the bulge off and trap the Russian troops to the west. From radio intercepts at Bletchley Park, the Russians knew this was Hitler's intention, and because he delayed the start of the battle by 2 months to get more modern equipment in place, the Russians had time to create stronger defences. Finally, the German attack was timed for 3:30 in the morning on July the 5th, 1943. Russian guns, knowing the German plan, started shelling the assembly places from 1:10 onwards, causing a lot of damage to men, tanks and artillery. The Germans knew that surprise was no longer available, but started the battle as they had planned. At the end of the following 6 weeks, 2 million men were killed, injured or sick. 8,000 tanks had taken part, over 2,000 of them being destroyed. Although the Germans lost far fewer tanks and men, the Russians could afford to lose what they did, and the German army failed to close the salient, and from then on for the rest of the war they were in retreat. Where did the Russians get their information on the assembly areas? As far as I know, the Russians had 3 sources of information at this time. They did not have a direct link to Bletchley Park. Firstly, Churchill would leak information to them from Bletchley Park. He didn't trust Stalin, and Stalin didn't trust him. If anyone asked where the information came from, the British ambassador would tell them from a senior officer in the German War Office. Secondly, Stalin had John Cairncross, a spy in Bletchley Park. He certainly supplied documents to the Soviets about the disposition of forces at Kursk. Thirdly, there was a German spy ring based in Switzerland, codenamed Lucy. It claimed to have senior people in the German War Office willing to send copies of operation orders to them for forwarding to Russia. They had an Enigma machine for receiving this clandestine information. There is a rumour that the Lucy organisation was just a British way of getting information from Bletchley Park to Russia, without it seeming to come from the British. Even after much research after the war, the sources of information to Lucy in the German War Office were never found, which leads credence to this rumour. Stalin was very mistrustful of everyone. He felt the information from these 3 sources was too good to be true, and took a long time to trust it. Certainly earlier in the war, John Cairncross had been asked to confirm some information reported by Lucy. As neither Lucy with their mole nor Bletchley Park had access to all the German messages, this suggests that Lucy might have been using Bletchley Park material. Whether Lucy did have a mole in the German War Office or not, Bletchley Park, through John Cairncross, supplied this information to the Russians, either as primary information or as confirmation. One feels sorry for the German soldier on the ground. His compatriots and senior officers were doing their best to keep him alive, but Bletchley Park was significantly reducing their life expectancy.